Morning, y'all. Hope everybody's doing well today. I figured I'd get on stream today and work on some bookstore restock. I have some plushies behind me that I have already prepped for restock. But right now I'm trying to determine what I should make next, and I was going to share with you guys some different options that I have. So I'm going to start a poll and then I'm going to share my screen with you guys so that you guys can help me pick what to make. So our first option is my baby shroom pattern, and that would be like an emotional support mushroom, because part of what the bookstore owner wants is some Valentine's Day themed things, and I think just making some of my emotional support mushrooms like in pinks and reds and using like messages that are kind of like Valentine's Day messages would be a cool idea. I also have this chubby chicks in hats pattern. And some of them have like strawberry hats, some of them have froggy hats, and I think I would do like strawberry hats and do like little, instead of like seeds like they are pictured, I would do like little hearts. Then we also have this Mother's Day flower poppets pattern. I've never made this pattern before, but it looks really cute. It looks like it uses like both chenille yarn and worsted weight, smaller weight yarn to make like the flowers on the poppets. And then this is another pattern that I haven't made before, but I think it would be really cute to make like some little heart cookies. So those are our options today of what I can make. And I'm going to continue working on what I'm working on right now, which is just a granny stitch blanket. But make sure you vote in the poll so that I know what I should be working on today. Good morning, Jen. Thanks for tuning in as always. Jen says strawberry chick sounds so cute. Yeah, I've made that before and it has been a hit at markets, especially when I make it with like larger eyes. Um, the pattern photos have like smaller eyes, but I feel like when it has much bigger eyes, it's like way cuter. We've got people voting in the chat, mostly strawberry chick. We've got flower poppet. Good morning, Diamond. Got some return viewers today. That's always very exciting. Got 4 viewers, so I think everybody has probably voted right now. Oh no, it looks like one person has not voted. So make sure if you haven't voted that you vote on what I should work on today, and then after that I'll start picking out some colors for the pattern that you guys end up choosing. But if you weren't here from the beginning, I'm working on this granny stitch blanket. It's pretty big so far. I think I showed it to you guys in last stream too, but it's really pretty. I'm loving how it's looking, and it's going to be super warm once I make the backing for it too. I'm planning on crocheting the backing, and I'm trying to come up with like a creative idea to do that without having to like sew them together or crochet them together in the end. I just want to kind of figure out a way that I can crochet it directly onto each row. Looks like we've got 5 votes now, and Flower Poppet has taken the lead. I will admit, guys, that's the one that I am looking least forward to because I haven't made it before and it seems a little bit complicated. So, that would be a challenge for me if you guys choose that one, just saying. Not that that should dissuade you for any reason. um, Diamond says she's crocheting a sweater and she got into hand knitting and punch needle too. Okay, so I have watched, I think her name is Archery Corner on YouTube for about a year now, and she does like punch needle stuff, and it looks really cool. I just don't know if I'd like it. I've tried not punch needle, but something similar before, and I didn't really have the patience for it, which is funny because like crochet, you need a lot of patience too. Bonnie said, I voted before I even saw the options. I think you should still be able to change the vote if you want to, if you don't like the option that you chose. So you should just be able to change whenever you want if you change your mind. Good morning, Amber. All right, we got 6 votes, but there's 10 people watching. Y'all gotta vote. Once I get 10 votes, I'm gonna end the poll and we'll get started working on whatever you guys choose. But I need all 10 of you to vote before I start. But yeah, I have some things behind me too that I have already stocked for the bookstore restock. I'm gonna take them in tomorrow. We've got these adorable baby dragons. This is a pattern by Dr. Choco Crochet. And it's a free pattern on Instagram. Really cute. Um, there's a tiny bit of sewing. I think it's just like the wings are sewed on, but everything else is crocheted. Actually, that's not true. I always crochet the ears directly into the head just because that's easier. So that's the other part of the pattern that isn't nose sew. But these are so cute and they do really well at the bookstore because I have like the larger fourth wing dragons at the store as well. And sometimes people really like those, but they don't want to shell out $115. So this is like a cheaper version of that. That's also really cute. I have four of those made. And then I also made some little pocket axolotls for the store. And I've never had these in the store before, but I had these at market and they did really, really well. So I'm thinking that they're going to sell really well at the bookstore as well. And I can price them at like a fair price for the size too. So got four of those. And then I've also made three of these little, they're the pattern is the mini loaf cat pattern, but obviously we have little bobble legs on mine because I don't like what they look like when they're loaf cats. So I made them have legs. And the way that I did that is a no sew way, but I kind of made alterations with that. So if you guys want to know how I did that, definitely let me know in the chat and I can kind of explain how I did that. But they look so cute with these big old safety eyes that I hand painted. And then hanging on the shelf behind me, it's kind of subtle, but I have three different keychains here. We have, and I have two of each of these. This one is a mini potted plant. And I worked this up originally in chenille yarn, but it came out like really big, not really keychain size. So I made it in cotton yarn and it's much more keychainable. And then I also found this adorable pattern by, what is it? Yarnaholic Sociopath. She has this mini dragon pattern and it makes adorable little mini dragon keychains. And then I have two little cherry keychains as well that I made for the bookstore. And all of these keychains are going to be going into mystery boxes that the bookstore is putting together. So it'll be themed for whatever genre the book is. So obviously the dragons are for fantasy. And then I don't know what she's going to do with the cherries or the little potted plant, but she has some options. I guess those are more like, I don't know, less themed to whatever the book is themed to, but uh, hopefully those make sense for whatever she puts them in. So all of those are gonna go in mystery boxes, and then I think I'm gonna have to make some more for the bookstore restock too, because she wants them for not just the mystery boxes, but also for just restock in general. Diamond said I even crochet a shawl before. Very cool. Brianna says, hello, everybody. Bonnie says, I don't want to change, make the flower puppet. Okay, I need two people to vote. We've got 14 people watching. I said I'm going to start crocheting what you guys pick when we have 10 votes, and we only have 8, so two of you need to vote still. At least two of you. Amber says, I am making a Daisy Granny Square blanket. Oh, that's so cute. I love the one that I made. I don't know if it was a year ago or a year and a half ago now, but it's so nice and it's like a throw blanket that I have on the end of my bed in my master bedroom. And it's so cute. Ties all the pretty pastel colors into the wall color in my room is also the color I have in here on the walls, and it's just so pretty. It's like my favorite color. So, okay, we've got 10 votes, so we're locking it in. We're doing the flower poppet. That's hilarious. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at the pattern now because I got to figure out how many colors I need and what types of yarn that I need. Okay, so this person used Parfait Chunky and then DK and acrylic yarn. And we'll need, so the bouquet wrapping color, the interior color, which she uses green. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different like flower piece options. So I gotta pick which flowers to do. You guys want to help me pick? We've got rounded petals, daisy, sunflower, and rose, and then there's some also like additional like little leaf details. I'm thinking about doing the sunflower. That's so pretty and they're so much bigger. But let me quickly, I will edit my little photo screen here so I can make you guys another poll and you can like look at the different flower options we have too. Okay. So we have, I can also do a combination of stuff, guys, if you guys want. So we'll see. If something ties, then we'll do a combination. We've got sunflower, rose, and rounded, and daisy. I also really like the daisy. So vote in this poll. Tell me which flowers I should make. And I think I'll do like the top 2. So vote on which ones you want me to make. I'm going to close the rest of these windows I have open of the other patterns. I'm looking at the pattern here. So I'm going to grab the wrapping color and my green color. Ooh, my chair is on my headphone cord. So our wrapping color and I'm going to use chartreuse, I think. And then I think this is cream for our wrapping. So, whoop, I'm throwing stuff. Here's our bouquet colors. What do you guys think? Sunflower 60%, daisy 30%. Okay, and we've got 10 votes. You guys are on top of it now. Thank you. Okay, so I need to get the daisy colors, right? Daisy? Was that right? Oh, I lost the poll. Where did it go? It was daisy and sunflower. I'm 100% sure that was it, but for some reason the poll results aren't picking up in my chat anymore. But sunflower and daisy, so I need white, yellow, a darker yellow, a brown, and a green for the rest of the flowers. So I'm going to step away really quickly and get those colors because they're not behind me and they're in my secret closet. So I will be right back, guys. Alright, I'm back, guys. I am back. So I've got, here's our green leaf color, center of the sunflower color. We've got sunflower leaves, or sunflower petals, they're not leaves. And then these are our daisy colors. So there we go. I'm gonna get started on crocheting that now. But what are the rest of you working on today? There's lots of friends in the chat today. I feel like I don't usually pay attention to how many people are in the stream, but it's cool to see that there's 22 of you right now. That seems like a little bit more than normal. So that's sweet. Okay, I need 2 different hook sizes. let me see. I also need to put up my little "what are you making" message on screen. There we go. Um, Two different hook sizes. She uses 4.5 millimeter and a 2.75 millimeter, which I have. That's so exciting. Guys, I can't tell you, I can't express enough how much I love these clover hooks that I got for Christmas. Not this year, but last year. They are so nice. They glide like butter. I really wish the rest of my like bigger yarn hooks that I have were clover hooks. Um, but I tried to put them on my Christmas list this year, but then they like sold out of like the packages. So all of my bigger hooks are just like these. You like that ASMR? Um, they're all these like full metal hooks that I don't like as much, unfortunately. Okay. It got a little hard to hear you just now. Was that when I was turning around? Hopefully that's not an issue anymore. Oh yeah, she says, oh, it's back to normal. Taya's Adorned Crochet says, hello, I'm working on a custom order for a doodle dog. That's cool. I've never heard of that before, that pattern before. N is making bees, not made. Did I miss your first message, Rachel? When did you pop in here? I didn't see your first message. I just saw that you said bye somebody. It's good to see you in here, Rachel. Not made is Rachel, by the way, guys, in case you're confused about who I'm talking about. Do I use inline hooks or tapered? I don't know the difference. Hold on. Inline hook versus tapered. I think they're tapered, if I had to guess. Yeah, they're tapered. They're definitely tapered. Yeah. So I use tapered hooks. I didn't know that there was a difference, but I guess once I saw the picture visually, I knew what the difference was, but Amber says I need to invest in some clovers, but I just haven't yet. Yeah, they're worth it. It's so nice. I used to get like cheap hooks all the time, and I would just get like the beginner's sets that have like all the different sizes. But then the thing is like the handle part always like ends up getting unglued and like slipping off. That was so annoying. There were so many hooks I had like that I have there's a little hole in my keyboard drawer here that I could like jam the top of the hook in and then like push the handle back down. I would do that so often when I used to have those cheap hooks. And I still have them just in case, but I don't know if I'm ever going to use them again. These clover hooks just are perfect. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, we're done round 1, guys. Anybody attempting to crochet along with me to the same pattern? I love how I pointed out that this was like my least favorite pattern out of the 4, and you guys were like, she's gonna do that one. Guys pushing my buttons this morning. It's okay though. It'll be fine. Mostly the reason I didn't want to do it is because it seems like it's a little bit more complicated, and I was worried it was going to be hard for me to focus on the pattern and the chat at the same time. But it'll be fine. I'm a big girl. I'll get over it. Okay. Done round 2. Bonnie uses clover as well. N says, I use tulip hooks and I am in love with them. I have never tried tulip before, but I bet they're cool. I don't think I've heard of that brand before. But I remember there was like this YouTuber that I watched at one point, and I don't remember her name. But she does all of her videos in a yarn room, and like her background kind of looks like mine, except she has like an L-shaped setup to her yarn wall, and she does like reviews of hooks and yarns and patterns and all sorts of stuff. And she's like a older lady, not like much, like not like super old, but she's an older lady. probably at least 10 years older than me. And she's got glasses and short hair, and she's blonde, I think. But she does like pretty cool review videos, and I remember she reviewed like every popular crochet hook that was out there at one point, and she was like, Clover are the best. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna settle with what she said. Um, let's see. Jen says, I started with inline but only use tapered now. Yeah, I remember when I first started out, a lot of the sets that I had were inline. Um, but then once I had sets that were like trying to dupe the clover hooks, they were tapered. And yeah, I just haven't gone back since then. I feel like inline is probably better for smaller weight yarns that need like better tension. I've noticed that a lot when I've worked with cotton yarn recently, is like I struggle keeping the tension so that there's no gaps between the stitches. And I think it just might be because I'm working with a tapered hook, but I could be wrong. I could definitely be wrong. Taya says, I enjoy watching your videos, especially your pattern reviews. Well, thank you. I'm actually working on one right now. I've finished crocheting everything for it, and actually in the last live stream I showed like some behind the scenes stuff, and um, showed some of the patterns that are going to be in that video, but that video is going to come out in February. Um, and yeah, everything, I've crocheted everything. I just still have to film the actual review part and then edit it, of course. But yeah, another one is coming soon. I feel like I haven't done one in a really long time. Last one that I made, I was a little bit discouraged by some of the comments that I got and some of the feedback that I got about it, and I've been trying to kind of brainstorm how I'm going to make it different so people don't get upset. And it's not like people weren't upset with the feedback I provided. Well, one person was specifically, but a lot of people were upset that I shared like too much of their pattern on screen. Um, so I was just thinking about ways I can better present it so that it doesn't bother designers. Like the amount that I'm sharing of their patterns in the video. So, Bra says, example of an inline hook is Susan Bates hooks. I'm not familiar with her. Rachel says, do you find the handle gets in the way when making large bobble stitches? For clover hooks, no. Yeah, I haven't had that experience. The only experience that I work with, that I have with um, working with like larger yarn is just like my wrist gets tired out a lot easier than it does when I'm working with like smaller weight yarn and smaller hooks. Okay, I'm round 7, back loop only, 21 single crochet. Have to say that out loud so I don't forget what I'm supposed to be doing. Am I talking about Annie hooks in healers? I don't think it's hooks in healers. I don't think I've ever watched one of her videos, but she's come up in my recommended a lot. But I don't think it's her. Elise Rose Crochet. Maybe. Let me look. Who is Elise Rose Crochet? If I can spell crochet right, that would be the first step. Yes, it's Elise Rose Crochet. Thank you, Bonnie. Yep, that's who I was talking about. She did a... let me share my screen really quickly. This lady. This is who I was talking about. Let me see if I can find the video really quickly. But she did a... It wasn't this one. Was it? It might have been. It's not that one. It's not. It doesn't have watched on it. But yeah, she reviewed like a ton of crochet hooks at one point, and she still... It looks like she still reviews crochet hooks sometimes. But yeah, she does a lot of really cool videos. I need to watch more of her videos. They're really entertaining. But she makes like heirloom amigurumi plushies instead of working with chenille yarn, so they look like, I don't know, vintage? Is that the right word? Heirloom, I've definitely heard a lot of people say. Bra says, oh, it might be. Yeah. I'm glad we all figured it out. Thank you so much, Bonnie, for letting us know who I was thinking of. N says, "Oh, my tulip hooks are in line, it seems." Tai. Oh, I'm sorry. So it's Tai. Got it. Sorry. I will make sure I say it correctly. Thank you for telling me phonetically how I'm supposed to say that. I feel so embarrassed when I mispronounce people's names in the chat. Um, and says, "Do you mean the patterns you used in reviews?" Yes. When I was talking about the free pattern review series, yeah, some of the designers that wrote the patterns that I had featured in the last free pattern review video, number 29, were upset. That's what I was talking about. Um, Man, this round is a decrease row, and I don't know what I just did wrong because the stitch count is off. Hold on. Please hold. Maybe I miscounted. We're on stream. It's very possible. Okay, we got one decrease. One decrease. One decrease. Oh, there it is. I can see already by the way that my loops are pulled up that I decreased in the wrong spot. Um, Taye says, "I think your review videos are well done. I don't think you show too much of the pattern, but I do understand their concerns." Yeah. I'm still having an issue. I don't know how they had this round 8 of this pattern is a single crochet and a decrease times 7, and the previous round was 21 stitches, and then we're down to 14 stitches. That doesn't seem right. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. Yeah, she's missing. Oh, wait. It's like she does an extra decrease at the end of the round. No, no, that there's no room for an extra decrease. Okay, hold on. It's like gotta put our investigator glasses on real quick because I don't know what's going on. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. So I just need to do a single crochet. She's missing that in the pattern, I think, unless I didn't do 21 stitches in a previous round. I'm gonna do math real quick on a calculator. Okay, we got 3 times 7 is 21. So I did mess up at some point. That's weird. Okay, so I must have had 22 stitches in the previous round. I'm crazy. I messed up, guys. Oopsie. At least I can just pretend that I didn't and make it 14 stitches and then everything's fine. Does anybody else do that? I feel like I do that all the time. When I'm just crocheting on my own, not for like a pattern review video, if I encounter a spot where I'm like, I don't have the right stitch count, um, I just like change the decreases so that it makes sense. Okay, make your flowers and then sew your flowers and leaves, and I will. Okay. Okay. So the pattern recommends that I stop at this point where the bouquet part is not finished and I make my flowers now. So I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to get this. I'm going to make my flowers. Rachel says, "Have you seen her video where her husband picks her yarn for her and she has to make a project with it?" That is hilarious. I love that idea. So if I did that with my husband, he would pick the craziest colors. He has a very funny sense of humor and he likes to make things wacky. Okay, I'm going to start with the daisy. And I'm actually going to make a magic ring, guys. Normally when I'm working with chenille yarn, I don't make a magic ring because I don't want to hate myself today. Because I can never get the magic ring to work with chenille yarn, so I just do the chain 2 method every time. So we've got a magic ring with 5 single crochets. This sounds like an FPR review. Yeah, that's kind of how it feels right now. I wasn't expecting this, but I honestly think, guys, I don't think it's the pattern designer's fault. I think I just miscounted my stitches at one point. I must have not increased enough one row. Or maybe I increased one too many. Something happened where I think I had 22 stitches instead of 21 in the previous round. N says you can call me NG. Is that right? N was a sorry, I'm stumbling. Was an easy nickname for my crochet accounts. Well, whatever you prefer, I will call you whatever you prefer. Okay, I gotta switch to white really quick. Switching to white. Here's my tiny, tiny, tiny little daisy center. Okay. Guys, do you think I'm going to be able to finish a pattern on stream today? That never happens. Finish working on a pattern on stream in one day? That'd be such an achievement. I would feel so, so good about myself if I could finish working on a single pattern on stream. I don't know. This one has sewing. I don't know. Maybe it's possible. Maybe it's not. Amber says this sounds like, oh, I already read that. Okay. And Rachel says I fudge stitches all the time is easier than frogging. Yeah. Okay, I need a slip stitch into the first stitch. I wish I had like a second camera angle so that I could like zoom in on what I'm doing, because then you guys could see up close all of the little mistakes I'm making, and that would be funny. Okay, 4 chains. Amber says, I used to only be chain 2, but I'm quickly becoming a magic ring girl. Okay, so question with that is, if you're a magic ring girl, do you use Premier Parfait Chunky? Or are you a magic ring girl because you use not Premier Parfait Chunky? Because I feel like that's why I don't like it, is because I use Premier Parfait Chunky and it's just inevitable that it's gonna break my yarn and make it shed real bad. And maybe that's why I don't like it. Taye says maybe if we don't distract you too much. I think I'm gonna be able to do it. I think I am. I'm holding out hope, guys. Jen says I tend to prefer a magic ring as well, but always chain 2 with the chenille. Sweet Snuggles Light is always breaking on me. I guess, yeah, that's true too. Sweet Snuggles Light. I think, honestly, guys, this might be a conspiracy theory, but I think Premier Parfait Chunky and Sweet Snuggles Light come from the same manufacturer. I think it's very possible. Okay, slip stitch into the same stitch. And then slip stitch into... What? Okay, slip stitch into the next stitch. It says the first stitch, like, in the repeat, and I was like, what? Why would I do that? So, FPR moment, that should have read into the next stitch, slip stitch, but it didn't. Of course it didn't. Okay. Nope, not a slip stitch, a single crochet. Diamond says, did you try embroidering? That was similar to punch needle. Yes, I have tried embroidering. I actually have some of my embroidery on display on one of my yarn shelves. And actually, fun fact, there's one behind my middle yarn cabinet because it used to be on display on top of the cabinet and then it fell. And y'all, I can't get back there without moving the cabinets, and that is not happening anytime soon. This is not looking right, y'all. This is I feel like the daisy petals should be closer together than they are. So hopefully it's not user error. I don't know. Anyway. Where did I leave off in chat? You guys are chatting more. It's hard to keep up. I responded to Diamond. Okay, so Amber said I never used any Premier yarn, so no. And Taye says I make a magic ring with all types of yarn I use. Well, congratulations on being excellent at making magic rings then. Because that is not me. I struggle so hard with magic ring. And I'm struggling right now because this cotton yarn wants to like, I keep grabbing it in the middle of the strand instead of like grabbing the yarn um, on the side of the strand. I don't know how this lady got more than 5 petals. I think I'm doing something wrong. Slip stitch into the first stitch, chain 4, starting in the second chain from the hook, single crochet, slip stitch 2, and that's in parentheses and brackets because there's a repeat in there. And then slip stitch into the same stitch and then repeat. I think it's written wrong, honestly. I think there's 2 petals in each stitch on this because right now how it's written, I'm only getting 1 petal per stitch and that's only going to get me 5 petals. But I think there's 10 petals on this daisy. So FPR moment. Proofread your patterns. It's so easy. Just make your pattern more than once and then you just be like, okay, I see where the issue is. Okay. So I frogged 3 petals. Let's see, where did I leave off? Jen says, both are very similar, especially the floral print yarn. They both carry, yeah, Bloom and Blossom, that's the same yarn. There's no way it's different. It's exactly the same. It's so much the same that a lot of the time when I, both when I organize it and when I talk about it in videos or in lives or whatever, I use Blossom and Bloom interchangeably because they are the same. There's no way some other company, like their manufacturer has to be the same person or the same company. It's gotta be. It's like the same patterns sometimes. Like, Premiere has... I'm gonna do a side-by-side for you guys. We're gonna do a little investigative moment here. Hold on. Please hold. Robin... There's one that's like Robin Blossom or something. Something like that. They have... Oh, yeah. It's not... It's Robin's Egg something, I think, in the Sweet Snuggles version. In Premiere, Begonia, that's the same exact yarn. I'm pretty sure Sweet Snuggles Light also has something extremely similar to Geranium. That's this color. And I'm pretty sure they also have Tulip. Exact same. Oh, you know what? Maybe it's either Begonia or Larkspur that they have the exact same one. And then they also have one that's like these 3, but it's blue. But Premiere obviously doesn't have that color. But I feel like it's not even a conspiracy. I feel like I've confirmed it for you guys. But anyway. Let's see. Kaylee says, hi Cassie, hi friends. Hi Kaylee! I'm glad you're in here again. I feel like maybe I'm wrong, but is this your 3rd stream that you've joined us, Kaylee? If so, happy 3rd stream. It's nice to have you in here. Kaylee is very engaging in the chat every time she watches. It's so nice. And she says the chain 2 method confuses me for some reason, so I only use magic ring. Well, that's fine. Everybody's gonna have their own way to make it easy for them, and chain 2 is just my method of making it easy for me. Taye says, no, I don't think so. Parfait Chunky seems more like they're just chenille yarn. I don't know if I've tried Sweet Snuggles Light just chenille. I don't know. Rachel said, right before you said what, I said, wait, what? Looking at the pattern I'm using. That's awesome. Okay. It's looking way more like the photo. I think there's an error in the pattern. It's 2 petals in each stitch. That's the only way you can get 10. petals for this little daisy. Guys, I was not expecting this daisy to take me so long. I don't know. We've got 20 minutes left. I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish this before stream's over. I was hoping. I was very hopeful. But if we're going to have issues like this in the pattern, maybe not. Amber says, honestly, the first and only time I used chenille, it broke from a chain too. Oh no. I feel like the more that I work with chenille, the better I get at using it. There's just like, I feel like there's just, it needs to come with like a manual of like, you need to do this. Just so that you're able to navigate it well and use it well. Because it is difficult. Especially for beginners. When I was making my crochet kits, I was contemplating including some of my worsted weight yarn in the kit so that they could practice using the worsted weight yarn. I still think it's a good idea. So maybe I'll do that in the future. Speaking of crochet kits, I still have my baby broccoli pattern crochet kits that when I initially made them, I had recorded the video tutorial and then my phone died in the last like second of recording the video, so then the entire file became corrupted. Haven't re-recorded that since. Still need to do that so I can actually sell those kits. It's just like wasted inventory sitting in my room right now because I can't sell them because they don't have video tutorials right now. Kaylee says, I use chain 2 method if I'm making a gift for the added security. Interesting. Yeah, I've noticed sometimes that my magic rings, like my friend has a purse that I made, and the magic ring of all of the little granny squares on there are like coming undone. I don't know what I did wrong. I feel so bad. Whenever she has it, I like find myself reaching for it and trying to fix it, and then she's like, no, it's fine, it's fine. And I'm like, that's definitely my fault and not your fault that happened. And yeah, it was like, I did a challenge, it was like maybe one of my first 5 videos was a crochet challenge, and I was trying to use up all these little tiny granny squares that I made at one point and then never did anything with, and it's one of those bags. So it must have been when I didn't really understand how to make a magic ring. I think making a magic ring, when I first started out, I didn't understand the importance of using 2 strands in the magic ring. I think that might be part of the problem, is I didn't use 2 strands. Okay, we're nearing the end of this daisy, y'all. How many petals do I have? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Perfect. Done. Daisy done. Not looking very pretty right now, but I'll make it look pretty. Don't worry. Taye says the chain 2 method always messes up for me. I'm sorry. That's too bad. Okay, I'm gonna fasten off this daisy real quick. And there we go. We got our daisy. Yeah. NG says, more like have testers for your pattern. Annoys me when people make patterns and sell them when they haven't had them tested. Yeah. I don't understand when people don't have their patterns tested, because one, it's a great way for you to increase your following, and for more people to see your pattern, because not only do you have people follow you to apply to become a tester, but you also have those people, when they finish making your pattern, you have them free, like, it's free advertising because they have to share pictures of the finished product, and you're reaching their audience, not just yours. So I don't understand why people don't do it. I'm gonna mute myself really quick so you don't hear me slurping. And Kaylee says, yes, 3rd stream. I'm glad I got that right. That's awesome. Gracie says, hi. I'm going to switch over back to my pattern really quick because I need to figure out how to do the sunflower. Get this yarn all winded back up. I watched Nooks Hook's latest video where she did her stash organization, and I realized that we're like complete opposites when it comes to organization. And I was like, oh wow. She had all these yarns. Well, first of all, she doesn't keep put them in cakes like I do. I don't think she has the patience for that. Fair. Um, but she has them all like skeins still, like how she bought them, and all each one of them had like a strand just hanging down. And I was like, oh my gosh, I would hate that so much. That would be my worst nightmare. And I was like, yeah, organizational opposites. Wasn't expecting that. Where did I leave off? Where did I leave off in chat? Gracie said hi. Kaylee says you have a great memory. Well, thank you. My husband tells me that all the time. um, she also said when I first started, I used that chain 4 fake magic ring method. I refuse to learn a real magic ring. I don't think I've ever heard of a chain. Oh, you know what? The chain 4 is when you chain 4 and then you slip stitch into the first chain and then you work around the chain 4. I hated that method. I hated that method so much because it always left a big gap in the center. Maybe my tension needed to be tighter. I don't know. 2, 4, 6 in a magic ring for this sunflower. Taye says just chenille is Premier's cone and Dollar Tree yarn. Yeah, that's what I thought you were talking about, but I didn't want to like assume in case there was something in the other brand that we were talking about that I just like wasn't aware of. But I disagree. I think the just chenille that Premier makes is a different, completely different from like Premier Parfait Chunky and Sweet Snuggles Light. Like it's a completely different makeup. Feels extremely different and works up really different. The texture is different. I don't think those are comparable to Sweet Snuggles Light. But Premier Parfait Chunky next to Sweet Snuggles Light, a lot of the colors are pretty similar. I've noticed the weight is different. Sweet Snuggles Light is slightly larger, but it reminds me a lot of Premier Parfait Plush, which is extremely comparable to Sweet Snuggles Light. They're like the same size. And the main reason I bring it up is because this one time I bought a Premier Yarns does stash goals things sometimes where they have like unwrapped skeins in a plastic bag and you can buy them in bulk for like super cheap. And there was one time that I bought it and it came in this sage color and I was like, this is a conspiracy because I thought that it was like an unreleased color, and it turns out it was, but a lot of people in the comment section kept saying that it was uh, Sweet Snuggles Light because they have a like identical color. And that's also very possible, but it also made me think that it's very possible that they just use the same manufacturer and therefore they have like some color um, similarities and dupes and stuff like that because they use the same manufacturer. I'm pretty sure that's the case though. Kaylee says, I really want to use furry and fuzzy yarns, but I just can't and it makes me so mad and sad. I'm sorry. It's been growing on me recently, and I will say the more experience you have crocheting, the easier it will be because um, the easier I've been able to just like crochet without looking at my work, or like yeah, I said that right. The easier it's become to understand how to feel for stitches when using fuzzy yarn. I messed up this row, guys. And that's made it like way easier for me to to know where to crochet when working with fuzzy yarn. But yeah, I did it with like my penguin pattern. I used Little Bunny, and I made like a soup belly cat recently with Little Bunny as well, and they all came out so cute. I want to get more Little Bunny yarn and make more stuff like that. I feel like I have encountered another issue with this pattern, guys. Hold on. Boy. We had first, the magic ring had 6, and then we have round 2 is an increase all the way around. Where does that start? It starts here. So we've got 2, 4, 5. There it is. Didn't have enough stitches in my magic ring. That's awesome. I'm really struggling today, guys. I'm so sorry. This doesn't usually happen to me. I mean, it happens to me all the time on stream. I can't focus. Okay, there we go. We've got 6 stitches in the magic ring. That should fix my issue. Jen says, I weave the magic ring tail a ton of times because I'm so anxious it will come undone. I used to knot it around a stitch. Taye says, Kaylee, fuzzy yarn is so difficult to use. I don't understand how people use it all the time. Yeah, it requires you to just have telepathy with your yarn. You just gotta know. You gotta work blind. First time I ever worked with fuzzy yarn, I made a Yeti that I got commissioned out of nowhere. I didn't even have the pattern. I had to buy the pattern. I had to buy the pattern mod because it wasn't even like in the pattern that he wanted. It was a mod of the pattern. And when I worked on the Yeti, I had stitch markers in every single stitch every round. It was crazy. And I still feel like it came out looking really cute, but it took like way longer than it should have, and because of that, I think I undercharged him because I felt bad. I'm fixing my start of my magic ring because I always chain first in my magic ring, and I know it's not part of the instructions, but it helps me. Let's see. Jen said, honestly, fuzzy yarn feels like Bliss is a lot easier compared to fur. I bet, because feels like Bliss has like a center part that you can see in the yarn, I think. Kaylee says, Taye, it looks so pretty and I try so hard, I just can't make it work. Amber said, did you chain one after you made the magic ring? Yeah. I always chain one when I start magic ring. I don't know why. I think I was taught that way. What am I doing? I need to do 3 single crochet and then an increase. Yeah, I was taught that way. And a lot of patterns that I would use when I was first crocheting and like starting off as a beginner, they would tell you to chain one at the beginning of the magic ring, like before you make your stitches in the magic ring. Maybe that's my issue. Maybe that's why they come unraveled. I don't know. Okay, it worked out that time, so everybody, RIP to Cassie's brain today. It's just not working. Okay, we're changing to yellow. Gotta make the petals of this sunflower. Rachel says, I think it's incredible when you purchase a pattern and there are typos, mistakes in it. I just wonder how it slips by with pattern testing. Okay, so honestly, I feel like pattern testing recently, especially for me, I have run into a lot of people who just like, they pattern tested because they wanted a free pattern, not because they think that they're gonna offer any help to you at all. They just want a free pattern. And I've noticed that a lot. A lot of the time, the people who apply for pattern tester calls are people who just started crocheting and want to accumulate a bunch of patterns that they can make. I don't think that's a good idea. I definitely had that mindset first starting out, but I still offered like actual feedback about patterns. But that's just kind of how I'm wired. Like I've always done that, like even when people don't want feedback. Hence the free pattern review series. But yeah. Man, this knot does not want to knot. Back loop only, petal, and then slip stitch. And the petal is a single crochet. I really hope this is all going to be in one stitch. It doesn't say. Man, this pattern is my nightmare, guys. Okay, hold on. So I'm going to make 7, and we have 15 stitches. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, Okay, so I feel like they're all going to be in the same stitch, but it's not super obvious. So single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, treble crochet, oh, treble crochet, start again. I keep grabbing the center of the yarn strand again. I hate when that happens. Treble crochet. And a picot. Okay. And then we chain 3 and slip stitch into the same stitch. Okay. Yeah, I was right. This pattern, again, has another error in it. Which makes me want to flip all the way to the end of the pattern and see if it was tested or not. Because, man, how did they mess up so many times? Okay. Pattern testers? There were pattern testers. Of course there were. Oh boy. Where did I leave off? Kaylee said pattern testing in the wearable community has become so lazy. I'm glad amigurumi is still chill for now. See, I still haven't encountered the chill part of the testing community because I feel like the majority of my testers, the majority of the time, do not actually give me notes. Unfortunately. Rachel says, I'm glad you can't see my stash. But she's got a lot of fuzzy yarn. Kaylee says, just chenille is more velvety and has a sheen to it. Yeah, I agree with that. NG says, Cassie, do you have a video where you talk about pricing plushies for markets? I do, actually. Let me grab it real quick and I'll link it in the chat just because I need to wrap up stream in 4 minutes and I'm not going to have time to finish, but I want to respond to everybody. I did it's like a lot more encompassing, more than just pricing, but I include how like I get to how I make the prices for my plushies. So hold on. It's gonna start talking. Stop talking, Cassie. Nobody asked you to talk. Okay. Here, crochet by N. It's this video right here. I talk in that video about how I arrive at the pricing that I do, what all factors into it, and how I calculate it. So hopefully that helps. If not, definitely shoot me a message, either like probably on Instagram, honestly. And if it's not super helpful, I can definitely look into making another video about it soon, where I actually like dive into exactly how I price it and things like that. I can go through making a plushie for the first time, how I like weigh the yarn and come to determine how much yarn it took to make, and then like all of that, and show you how that pricing works if that video doesn't make sense to you. Kaylee says, I chain 1 when I do magic ring 2 because the video that taught me to do it. Yeah. Catherine's crochet says, good morning, just came on. What are you making? I am making, let me show you. Oh, I'm not on screen. Hold on. Don't know how that happened. Oopsie. There we go. I'm making this flower puppet pattern, and it's not going well. I feel like we're doing a live FPR. That's actually a good idea for future videos. Maybe we do live FPR, live pattern reviews. But yeah, I'm working on this pattern, and so far I have the daisy, and I just started the sunflower. I'm not doing a rose or the round petal flowers in this pattern. The chat picked it out for me though, and we've got like the inside of the bouquet. But everything else is not done yet, and I was hoping I'd be able to finish it on stream today, but that didn't happen. I got too hopeful, and then I ran into lots of issues in the pattern, so it didn't happen. Anyway. Rachel said I found a typo in the anchor pattern and I was shocked. It wasn't a pattern mistake, but like wrong word or something. I did message to let her know we're all human, just basic editing. Yeah, I've noticed that a lot, and I feel like when I point out when I find like spelling mistakes in patterns and I point those out in my free pattern reviews, people get upset at me. I'm like, that's just part of writing it. Like, don't you have spell check? It's not that hard. I get when people are like not native English speakers, but if you're not an English native speaker, like get somebody who is to test it for you. Um, okay, I'm gonna wrap up really quickly. It's 12:30 right now. Um, so I do need to get off stream, but thank you guys all for tuning in today. When I finish the little poppet, I will make sure I post it on Instagram for you guys with my thoughts, just so you know how it went. You already know how it went, but we'll see how the rest of it goes. But anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us on stream today. I will have a new video out on Tuesday, and it's really exciting. It's also very deeply personal because I talk about discouragement and staying in the small business and not quitting. So if you're interested in that, make sure you watch that video next week. And with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream, and I'll see you next week. Bye!